Yo, sound it off.
Hey guys, how's it going? Elliott Hulse here this morning. Today I want to talk to you guys about back pain and exercise. There's a lot of people out there that are getting back pain when they're doing deadlift, when they're doing squats, and a lot of it deals with the reason why they're getting this back pain is because it has a lot to do with muscular imbalances in the hips, as well as some weaknesses that I'll talk about in a couple minutes. But the first thing I want you to do is I want you to take a quick test and recognize which of these two postures more represents you. The big difference between the two of them will definitely have an impact on what exercises you're going to need to do and what stretches you're going to need to do, and also avoid. So take a quick look. I'm going to show you the first one. I am basically of this type of posture. I call it a Donald Duck posture, where you basically have an anterior pelvic tilt. Basically means your hips are tilting forward, and you've got a big arch in your low back. That's number one. The other one's more like a Pink Panther. That's those folks who've got the butt tucked under, and you're sort of flat back, no butt there, and your hips are sort of extended forward some. You're going to generally be you're going to lean one way or another. You'll either be sort of a Donald Duck like I am with the big butt, or you're going to be a Pink Panther, sort of tucked under, flat back. Now, let's go back to the very first one that I described to you before. If it turns out that you've got a long abdominals, sort of a distended gut like myself, where the abdominals are a little weak, but you get a lot of back pain when you're doing exercises, chances are it's not that your back is weak. Your back is very strong in relation to your abdominals. So what's happening is, throughout the spectrum of your core here, this area is taking the brunt of the exercise. So what you're going to end up doing is stretching certain muscles that put you in this position and strengthening the muscles that will sort of put you back where the other guy is, more like a Pink Panther. So guys who have this sort of posture, you're going to want to not do too much back extension. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there doing hip and back extensions. You're doing glute ham raises, which are great, which are awesome, especially if you're using them to strengthen your glutes. But you don't want to strengthen your low back anymore, you Donald Ducks out there. You don't want to do it because it's already strong in relation to your abdominals. What you do want to do is do more abdominal exercises. The stretches that are going to be key for you are the hip flexors. Now these are the muscles that are actually tied into your low back and into your hips. So when they're tight, they pull on your spine. You want to stretch these muscles, and I'll show you how. And again, there are a lot of myths and so-called truths out there. One of them is that you shouldn't stretch before exercise. A lot of guys are saying you should only do dynamic flexibility. I disagree with that. I think you need to do corrective stretches and exercises when it's called for. And in this case, if you've got tight hip flexors and you've got this sort of extended position, you're going to want to stretch your hip flexors before you squat, before you deadlift, before you do lunges, before you do anything that includes the lower body or integration between the upper body and lower body. Let me show you. I don't know if you guys can see me, but what you want to do is you want to get into a kneeling position here and sort of lean forward. You'll feel a big stretch in your hip flexor and the front part of your thigh. Then you can sort of reach over like I'm doing here. You'll feel a big stretch in the front part of your hips. Also, guys who are in this sort of position, extension is usually coupled with medial rotation of the knees. So that basically means you probably have tight adductors as well. So you're going to want to stretch the inside of your thighs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but chances are if you've got a low back pain because if you got that posture, you're going to be tight all in here. So you want to do any type of side adductor stretch like that. The other thing you want to do is you're going to want to stretch your low back. Now mind you, pay attention, this is not for everyone. This is guys who display this hyperlordosis or this hyperextended low back position and that are getting some pain. Low back stretch you're going to want to do is just sort of leaning forward, pulling your knees in. You can do it where you're seated on the floor and reaching forward, just lengthening those muscles. Now, lengthening the muscles and stretching the muscles are useless if you're not strengthening the abdominals. I'm going to talk to you guys on another tutorial about how to strengthen your abdominals, how to strengthen the deep abdominal wall, those muscles that really pull your hips back into the positions that they should be in so that you can integrate your abdominals into the exercises that you're doing. I'll talk to you about it another time. When I do deadlifts, I use my core, my abdominals, big time. And I do that by activating something called your thoracocolumnar fascia through a mechanism that I'll teach you. Anyway, so let's go to the other side of the spectrum. If you happen to be somebody getting back pain and you've got a flat back, you've got sort of tucked under hips, hypolordosis, you're going to be in a situation where you need to strengthen the low back. These are the guys that need to do hip and back extensions and glute ham raises every day. So anybody who tells you to do glute ham raises every day, they're not paying attention to who you might be. Now, if you happen to be one of these guys with the tucked under hips, you need to do hip and back extension, glute ham raises every single day. So the majority of your problem is strengthening. So if you're having back problems in that type of situation, you need to strengthen. Now, you also need to strengthen your hip flexors. That's the muscle that the other guy stretched. Remember, you guys are complete opposites. What you're one strengthening, the other one's stretching, and vice versa. So an opportunity for you to strengthen your hip flexors will be anything where you're pulling your knees up. You know, we do jackknives here, which if I had more time I'd set up, I might do it for you next week. Jackknives is a muscle that strengthens the hip flexors. You need stronger hip flexors to sort of give you that arch in your low back. You need to regain that arch. As far as stretching is concerned, chances are you're going to be tight in your upper hamstrings and probably your upper abdominals. Now remember, the other guy, he had really weak abdominals, like myself. I need to do more abdominal exercise myself, but I'm pretty strong, so I don't have to worry about that. And upper back and upper abdominals, that guy's probably pretty loose. I'm pretty loose in my upper hamstrings. Now the guy with the tucked under, you're going to be tight hamstrings, you're going to be tight abdominals. So what you're going to want to do is stretch those upper hamstrings by trying your best to stick your butt out and lean forward. What you're going to want to do is this. You're going to want to tuck that butt under because you're a Pink Panther. But what I want you to do is drive that butt back. You'd also do it in the corner of a wall where you sit down, in the corner of the wall, put your butt right in the corner, lay your feet straight out in front of you, and shove that butt into the corner while trying to keep your back up. That's going to stretch you all throughout even you'll feel it in your calves, especially if you pull your toes forward. That's where you're going to be tight. Those are the muscles that you're going to have to stretch. And then your upper abdominals are probably pretty tight also. If you're a Pink Panther, chances are you've got some sort of a kyphosis also, and you're leaning forward like this. So your abdominals are going to be tight. You don't want to do too many crunches, you Pink Panthers out there. Not too many crunches, but lots of hip and back extensions, prone cobras, things like this. A lot of stretching of the abdominals. So hopefully you guys have gotten that. You know, I tend to be a little long-winded sometimes, but you've got to figure out if you are a Pink Panther or a Donald Duck. And the stretches and exercises that one guy does is going to be the complete opposite of the other guys. Try it out, figure out who you are, let me know how these stretches and exercises work for you. Ask me any questions if you have by posting down below. I don't always get to every single one of your questions, but I'm going to try my best to answer them, and I'll try to answer them in other videos also. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about really quickly is these video tutorials. I'll be doing a lot more of them, but I'm also creating an inner circle, and I'll tell you about it again in another few weeks. Haven't got it complete yet, but every month I'm going to be sending out a video to your home that has lots of really in-depth tutorials like the one that you're getting today. I'll tell you more about that later and how you can join that program. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. Again, hit me up. I'm here for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I'll try my best to get to you. You guys know that. And enjoy the rest of your day.